And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today we are doing an injury update around the Washington Commanders, and we're going to be talking about how these injury updates are going to play a key factor in this upcoming game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this weekend. And so let's go ahead and jump into it. And so this is on Sports Illustrated Washington Commanders there. This is David Harrison, who is also the host of Locked On Commanders. But he gives us a critical update around two Washington Commanders players, and those players are Tyler Biadasz and then also two Marshon Lattimore. And so here is what Dan Quinn had to say. It looks like that there is some optimism around both of these players, but mainly talking about Marshon Lattimore. He says that he's hitting all the markers in a good space. We'll have to jog through practice today, and then we'll be at full speed tomorrow, and saying that specifically he's hit the markers up to this point. I anticipate that trending through the week, but tomorrow and Friday, specifically tomorrow, will be one that's more speed. And then also too, talking about Tyler Biadasz, looks like that he's trending towards being available. He's obviously going to be key to help open up holes for, just about every running back out there for us. Brian Robinson Jr., Jeremy McNichols, Chris Rodriguez Jr., and also to Jay Daniels, but talking about the protection responsibilities that he helps with as well. But, let's start with Marshon Lattimore. And I talked about this a little bit in yesterday's video, actually a lot, when it comes down to just how important it is going to be for the Washington Commanders to stop a very good passing attack with Baker Mayfield and Michael Evans and, just the other wide receivers and tight ends that the Buccaneers have. I think that when you get Marshon Lattimore back, not only does he help you as far as pass coverage is concerned, but he also is going to, I think, help your defense as far as the run defense is concerned as well. Because coming into this game, make no mistake about it, the Washington Commanders, look, we have really, I think, struggled defensively against the run. In fact, at the time of this particular podcast, the Washington Commanders are coming in. They're 29th in the league. I think that they had the lowest running defense in all the playoff teams coming into this year. And we gave up 137.1 yards per game. And so I think that when you get a player like Marshon Lattimore back, he's going to be able to allow you to send, I think, additional help to certain areas. And so that means that if you need to go out there and maybe trust Marshon Lattimore for some one-on-one coverage, and you need to bring a free safety up into the box at times, I think that you can do that. I think that you can disguise a little bit more of those blitzes when you have Marshon Lattimore. And also, too, if you need to send some additional coverage to somebody else, whether it's Cade Otton or, if it's Bucky Irvin, or you need to put a QB spy down on Baker Mayfield, which may be the case, I think that that is where you get the added bonus with Marshon Lattimore. And we all know about the rivalry that he has with Mike Evans. He's been with the Saints. They've gone back and forth. Just YouTube that. These guys have gone back at each other, and they're competitors. All right. I did see a clip where Mike Evans is like, at the end of the day, hey, we've apologized to each other, but we are competitors. And so they're going to compete hard, and we're going to need Marshon Lattimore out there because Mike Evans, he is, he's in elite company right now. He's definitely a Hall of Fame wide receiver. It's 11 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons for Mike Evans. And so you need one of the better corners in this league to be able to go out there and perhaps have to lock him up in man-to-man situations. And I think that we're going to be able to do that. And make no mistake about it, we're also going to send some additional help over to Marshon Lattimore. I'm sure at times that is going to happen. But for the most part, this helps out the defense as a whole. And I just think that when, just for the secondary, when you put, now you have Quan Martin, you have Jeremy Chin, you have Jeremy Reeves, Michael Davis. I'm just naming off some names here. Mikey Samerstill, if I didn't say that already, Noah Nagmany. These guys are now going to have the confidence, I think, to really lock up on their side of the field as well, because the other half of the field is taken care of with a healthy Marshon Lattimore. And so I think that really helps them focus a little bit more in the secondary. And I think that that is why you get an overall boost to your defense here. And so he's going to be huge in coming back. And now I want to shift focus into Tyler Biadasz, because one of the things that is mentioned in the article is that, look, it's not necessarily the most talked about position in football, the offensive line. But let's be honest, man, the offensive line has been critical for the Washington Commanders this season. I mean, we've been talking about just how special we've been on offense this year. Currently, we're seventh in the NFL, averaging 369.6 yards per game. We're fifth in the NFL, averaging, as far as scoring is concerned, averaging 28.5 points per game. And the running game, right? We're third in the NFL, averaging 154.1 yards per game. Passing, we're 17th, so we're top 20 in that aspect with 215.6 yards per game. And more importantly, the time of possession. We are top 10 in that category in the NFL, averaging 30 minutes and 55 seconds per game, which is going to be huge. And so, talking about Tyler Biadasz and why he is so important, I think that, the Washington Commanders, really their identity has been running the football. All right. And I think that when we have the ability to keep defenses on the field, really put a lot of pressure on opposing defenses, I think that that is really when the Washington Commanders are at their best. And dating back to week one, I think that Jaden Daniels had some real success against the Buccaneers in that first game. And I know that in that first game, he was probably maybe more reluctant to run the football. He had 16 carries for 88 yards. He had 2 touchdowns in that one, and he averaged 5.5 yards per carry in that one. And so he had a very good game, even though we got beat 37-20. And one of the key takeaways here is that Brian Robinson, he struggled in that one, 12 carries, 40 yards. He did have a touchdown, but he only averaged 3.3 yards a carry. And then Austin Eckler had only 2 carries, and he had 5 yards per carry in that one. But the key number out of this is that the Washington Commanders had 138 yards gained. Currently, right now, the Buccaneers are a top 5 rushing defense, only giving up 97 yards per game. In game one, we were able to get 138 yards. This team is much better than they were in week one. So make no mistake about that. I mean, you don't need to look at too many statistics to see that the Washington Commanders are a lot better football team. And Jaden Daniels is not the type of player that is just going to take off and run. He has, I think, a little bit more feel, for the pocket and the understanding of letting the play develop and things like that, which is why it's going to make it tough on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers run defense this time around, because some of these runs, they may not be design runs, and Jaden Daniels could really get the Buccaneers just because he knows how to extend these plays a lot better than he did in week one. And then also, too, he now has a little bit more of a feel with this playbook and the understanding of how to really gash defenses once he does get the ball in his hands. And so you absolutely need your starting center in Tyler Biadasz to be out there. And you also need really your whole entire offensive lineman to just be healthy, because I think that they're all going to be critical here. And when you look at this team, if they're able to go out there and rush the football and really play ball control offense, that actually helps our defense out. I think that when you have Brandon Coleman, you have Nick Allegretti, you have Cornelius Lucas, you have Tyler Biadasz, Sam Cosmi, Andrew Wiley, you have these guys just literally just putting their hands in the ground and pushing people out of the way. You're physically going to wear that defense down, and you're also keeping Baker Mayfield off the field. And so even though the Buccaneers offense is very good as far as passing the football, you really put them in a pressure situation now, and then adding Marshon Lattimore back, it almost puts even more pressure on Baker Mayfield. And I think that in anything that you do in life, if you pressure, if you kind of throw somebody off of rhythm, then you're more susceptible to those mistakes out there. And so I think that that is why the Washington Commanders are definitely going to benefit from having their starting center back. And here is another stat to throw out there that is super important for the Washington Commanders and having a healthy line, because when we look at Jaden Daniels, this is according to ESPN, he's recorded 59 total EPA on design runs and scrambles. That's more than any other player this season, and just really shows you the impact that Jaden Daniels is having. And what is the EPA? And so the EPA, what it does is it measures the value of each play by its effect on the offense's likelihood to score. It's calculated by subtracting the expected points before a play from an expected points after the play. And so, this is often what ESPN uses as far as going out there and getting the total QBR. And so, this lets you know just how effective that Jaden Daniels has been running the football. And a large part of that has to do with just how well this offensive line has performed. And some more statistics for you as to why Tyler Biadasz and this offensive line is going to be super important in this game. Look, 26% of Washington's third and fourth down conversions this season have come via QB runs, which ranks third in the league behind the Eagles and the Bills. But when you take away plays with 1 yard to go, the Commanders have used the quarterback run to convert 22% of their third and fourth downs. That is the highest mark in the NFL. That's according to ESPN.com here. And so that right there tells you that, look, this offensive line going to be huge. And I just talked about how Jaden Daniels had quite a game in game one. We can all agree that Jaden Daniels is a lot better, and he is going to be huge in game two, or this playoff situation, because, let's be honest, Brian Robinson Jr. has been struggling, and I'm not sure that Brian Robinson Jr. is really healthy at this point, even though he's probably not going to come out and say that. He's been dealing with a bunch of, kind of different little leg injuries and things like that. And we do get Austin Eckler back, which I think is going to be, a bit more of a factor moving forward for us. I really do. Hopefully we do get some more of Chris Rodriguez Jr. and then also to Jeremy McNichols. I feel like that they can still bring that punch that we want and finishing runs with that physicality. We're certainly going to need that. But I think that you're going to see a lot more running back by committee. And I also think that you're going to see maybe even the best of Jaden Daniels moving forward as we continue our playoff run here. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about this recent injury update that we have around Tyler Biadasz, and then also too around Marshon Lattimore. Let me know if you feel like, yes, both of these players are going to really play a huge factor in this upcoming game. I cannot wait to see this game. This is huge. I know that we are super excited to see this team get into the playoffs, and it's a team that we feel like can really make some noise. I think they can. I think that we're going to see a much, much better football team than we saw in week one. And I'm not sure the Buccaneers are going to be ready for that, but we'll see. So anyway, I'm always saying go Commanders, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.